Today I came across this man Omar Masry. Omar seems to be one of those guys that is full of hate for white people, for Christians and Jews, for baby boomers, for the President of the United States, and in summary, just a man full of hate, period. The funny thing is that he is a public official for the city of San Francisco in California. He has this Facebook pages with some 7,000 hateful posts that he made since 2018. Take a look at his posts and tell me what you think. What is amazing is that Facebook dates and timestamps all posts, and Omar seems to like to post at work, and to be able to get to his amazingly huge and gargantuan number of posts, he would have had to post at a rate of 5 posts per hour every working day of the year. Remember, there are 200 working days in 1 year, so he would have had to post uninterruptedly every hour, without a single break, not even for the bathroom. He must be a really fast typist. Don't you agree? Well, as we are here totally amazed at these posts, the city of San Francisco pays this guy $154,000 per year. Yes, you, my friend the taxpayer, footed the bill for this man's monumental hate effort. Before I continue, let me tell you who he is. He is the senior analyst for the city and county of San Francisco. He works in the short-term rental office of the city, a job that has as a principal function to police homeowners and fine them for renting their own property. I promise you this is not a joke. Please Google Omar Masry at Facebook and see for yourself. If for any reason, all his posts are stored in the Facebook servers. In this video I have added a selection of his hateful posts. Omar posted on June 14th at 10:51 a.m. an article by the American Taliban, with the heading "They are worthy of death." A cop preached that the government should execute LGBTQ people. On June 24th Omar posts, "Dear America, you are waking up, a Germany one-side, to the awareness that 1/3 of your people would kill another 1/3 while 1/3 watches." On May 28th, Omar Masry posts, "This idiot," referring himself to the chief commander of the armed forces, the President of the United States, and reposting an article from Bloomberg.com under the heading "Trump says U.S. aircraft carrier design is wrong, plans overhaul." On June 6th, D-Day, the day Allied forces disembarked in France, marking the beginning of the end of World War II, Omar posts a photo of World War II soldiers disembarking in Normandy, with the flowing caption "Anti-Semites deplatform free speech and using violence against conservative nationalists in Normandy." I see this imaged in his condescending language, think that this man is simply a radical agitator. In his posts of July 6th at 4:50 p.m. Omar posts an article from KCET.org, titled, "California, Califia, Halif, the origin of the name California, which has spawned so many of its own myths." What do you make of this? Well, for starters, Omar probably comes from the Middle East, and while we are not concede with his religion, we certainly can imply he is a very active Muslim with radical ideas, and a very loud mouth. Would you agree? I wonder, if we lived in Iran or Syria, with Omar as our neighbor, how would Omar behave towards us Christians and Jews? On June 14th at 7 a.m. Omar thanks a man that brought this article to his attention, under the title, "Tanker owner seems to dispute U.S. account of the Gulf of Oman attack." Well, let's put this in context, shall we? Omar seems to be disputing U.S. accounts that Iranian forces sabotaged this large oil tanker. I get the impression that Omar is more pro-Iranian than pro-American. Don't you agree that this sort of post is not only likely false, but also insidious and confusing to other people from the Middle East here in America and in San Francisco, and that maybe some of them would feel threatened if the Occidental press was obfuscating the facts, especially when the comments come from a man that presents himself as an official of the city of San Francisco, no less the senior analyst. By the way, Masry is an analyst in title only, and the city of San Francisco should abolish overly bombastic titles because they mislead the public. A senior analyst to me is someone with a formal education that uses quantitative finance and statistics to understand the world. Such person would never engage in the sort of lowly thinking this man engages. On July 16th, Omar makes fun of Christians and posts this image featuring the ex-President Obama talking to Jesus Christ. Obama is saying, "Trump's reversing all of my policies." Jesus Christ responds, "Evangelicals are reversing all of mine." Chuckles. Ha, ha, ha. Omar takes great licenses with the religion of others. Don't you agree? I find this post extremely offensive, crude and childish. Salman Rushdie had to hid for decades because he wrote a book called The Satanic Verses, and in Paris 2 brothers, Saeed and Cherif Kouachi, forced their way into the offices of the French satirical weekly newspaper Charlie Hebdo, armed with rifles and other weapons. They killed 12 people and injured 11 others. I am sure Omar would demand respect for his religion, but he thinks he has carte blanche to be rude to the rest of us. Again, the gravity of his activities, that have gone completely unsupervised by his superiors, major dereliction of duty. On June 20th at 9:07 a.m., bigot Omar posts the belief that Trump is a messiah is rampant and dangerous. He alleges that Trump supporters are disciples. Some context here. Calling someone else a disciple for his or her political views is derogatory as every post he makes, except those in which he advances his own religion. I wonder why he can run his loud mouth against all of us without impunity. This next post is likely the most telling of all. Omar, in this post dated November 1st, 2019, He seems to be chuckling and enjoying himself, while being a bit more careful, but behind his careful use of semantics, his true thinking and hatred is evident. It is the image of a Taliban with a machine gun, and his face and head fully covered in black. The post states the following: humor, Taliban kicked Jews out of prison for arguing too much. The last Jews in Afghanistan argued so much the Taliban kicked them out. Ha, ha, ha. On July 6, Omar posts, Tomi Lahren, everyone knows mermaids are white, just like Santa and Jesus. Why is this post outrageous? Because Tomi is a blonde and she is depicted next to the beautiful singer of African descent. What he is doing is fostering racial divide and hate. Intelligent people don't buy it, because it is a cheap way to rally others into anything remotely productive. I am surprised this guy has 1,900 followers on Facebook. Probably they are all afraid, because he works for the planning department. Omar posts on May 21st, it is time to start calling evangelicals what they are, the American Taliban. Omar can't contain his disdain for whites, Jews, Christians, and it is obvious that he discriminates against Jews and Christians and Republicans, and his appointment at the short-term rental office gives him great powers to fine homeowners, many thousands of dollars. What is happening in the San Francisco government is a total outrage. Before I continue showing you more of his posts, I would like you to understand the following. The planning department is a punitive arm of the San Francisco government. Everyone is afraid of these people, because they have a resolution that allows unelected officials to pass ordinances as they see fit. I will show you how they do this and what documents gives them this authority in the end of this video. December 19th. The image, a black boxer breaking the jaw of a white boxer. The caption, after breaking jaw of MAGA supporter, Nigerian immigrant explains why he's more American than him. Face-to-face Africa. On September 20, 2019, Masry states, about Candace Owens, this woman is an intellectual con artist. She once said, if Hitler just wanted to make Germany great and have things run well, okay, fine. She told an audience earlier this year, ever miss the days when public speaking required more than an opinion? The post is of Candace Owens giving testimony before the House of Representatives, and the captions reads, Candace Owens, white nationalism is not a problem that is harming Black America. Context. This post is all puffery, not true at all. Likely the most divisive post to me is this one he made on July 14th at 5:40 p.m. It is this post with two super famous actors from the 1970s. I think one of them is Michael Caine. Two white men, one featured higher, the other lower. The captions reads, back in my day, we weren't so easily offended. He next caption says, back in your day, you would lose your mind if a black person used the same drinking fountain as you. What a jerk Omar is for posting these messages. It is revolting. It is even more revolting that we are paying him a salary of $154,000, and this creep spreads this garbage of ideology. I don't even want to begin to start thinking who he works with. His boss, his supervisors. Maybe the city is encouraging him to do this illegal discriminating, and the taxpayers' dime. We have read of the guy that went to jail for stealing electricity from the power company, and yet, this guy's is stealing his salary and stealing our sense of security and fairness. Why do we have to be persecuted by this thug in this manner? Pay the money, we pay you back, and leave. Go be with your other hateful thugs. The city of San Francisco is not your message. Finally, we have arrived at what can be interpreted as abuse of power and intimidation. Let me translate this image. Two official City of San Francisco envelopes that are being sent certified mail return receipt requested. This kind of mail is sent to people that the city wants to attack through its attorneys, generally, for a violation to a local ordinance. In the case of Masry and his short-term rental office, this letter is likely addressed to a poor fellow that rented his apartment for less than a month or that was advertising for rent in Airbnb. It probably contains a letter of demand for payment. Now, this kind of letter and the parties to any dispute with the city is required to be confidential. Masry therefore by publication is likely committing 2 instances of violations of the law. If this is the case, he has committed a tort of defamation, and also is evidence of intimidations, because the recipient of this letter could have a strict employer and he could fear for his relationship at work. If I am correct, and think I am, this is clear evidence that this guy has not business representing us the taxpayer in any manner whatsoever. The question is, does the city of San Francisco knows about this pearl of a man, and has decided to ignore the problem, or is the city a partisan to this strategy? Moreover, he has it coming, because in my opinion he does not have clean hands. On November 24th, 2019, Masry posted an image that contains 2 white men, next to the monument of General Grant. I think it is a father and his son, both holding the Confederate flag. Father and son are ample and seemingly well-fed, and the caption reads, oh shit, the master race is coming, everybody run. The next line reads, or at least walk fairly briskly. Context. The master race is an idiotic statement that makes white people stupidly go on the defensive. I hope that this video does what it needs to do, go viral, and show people how extremists behave here in America, how inciting violence is not sanctioned, how the people that are in charge of protecting us are not doing a thing about safety. On December 29, 2019, Masry is so pleased to post the photograph of small children age 8 or 9, of course white, sitting in a computer lab at school. The cat ions reads, "Why do U.S. school children underperform academically compared with students in other countries?" Now let's discuss context. Masry a grown-up, sending messages to all the young children of America that get to see this post, telling them you are not smart. This post is not even objective. Let's all tell Omar that immersion schools are amongst the best in the world, and likely the term underperformance is subjective in every way. On June 14, Omar posts an image of Google with the captions that reads, "A white-collar sweatshop. Google assistant contractors allege wage theft." Now this comment would be comical if it was not so insidious, and likely false. However, what double standard our vociferous Omar has. He of all people claiming wage theft. Ha, ha. When Omar himself seems not to do much work at all on behalf of the citizens of San Francisco. Let's remind Omar that the approximate to 7,000 hateful posts he has made take a great deal of time, from reading the material to finally posting the disparagement. We think Omar has been all day long posting at work and doing very little else. It is hilarious that he or all people is spreading rumors about wage theft. I wonder how Google would take Omar's rants. Omar, you are a city employee. What are you doing making idiotic statements? On June 6, Omar posts a picture with President Nixon and another unidentified man, both in what seems to be praying in church. And then the legend, how corporate America invented Christian America to fight the New Deal. He posts, interesting, as if his remark was interesting at all. Masry post on June 24, an image of the American flag, torn and dirty, with a cat ion that reads, "The boomers ruined everything. The mistakes of the past are fast creating a crisis for young Americans." Context. This post and his relentless repetitive derogatory messages are designed to create a them and us mentality. Boomers are the generation with more experience, are the generation that built this place, and are the generation that is teaching the younger generations. Boomers, Omar, are the reason you are in this world. Respect for the elders, for the wisdom of maturity is something this guy has not learned. Moreover, disrespecting a group on the basis of age is age discrimination, illegal in the workplace, illegal on real estate, illegal in government. On June 19, Omar posted an image of a dilapidated red brick building, with the following legend at the bottom: "Black poverty is rooted in real estate exploitation." Nothing could be more false than that statement. It has nothing to do with anything. The poverty of African Americans is rooted in racial division. In statement like the ones you make, real estate is the foundation for capitalism and for financial security. What keeps other down and some up is not having a fair playing field, and that is bad capitalism. Excessive regulation is bad capitalism. Regulation used to keep new entrants out, and other in, just like what is happening now in San Francisco, for what your department is greatly responsible. June 5, Masry post, Tennessee District Attorney says gay people aren't entitled to domestic violence protection. Masry then comments I wonder which political party he belongs to. Now in context, he is referring to District Attorney Craig Northcutt. The news are likely false. June 11, 11:54 a.m. The mages of the Secretary of Transportation Elaine Chao and her husband Senator Mitch McConnell, two very accomplished people. Masry shows zero respect. The post reads, "Joe, this is the swampiest of swampy administrations." On a day, in 2019, Masry posts an image of the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, the First Lady of the United States, Melania Trump, Eric Trump, Donald Trump Jr., Ivanka Trump, and Tiffany Trump. The heading in electric blue on a background reads, is all capital letters, kleptocracy. Then at the bottom of the image, in white, the footer reads, a society whose leaders make themselves rich and powerful by stealing from the rest of the people. Now the context of this, the premise is idiotic, is innuendo. It has nothing to do with reality. I will not get into partisan politics, but it is a well-known fact that Trump is not taking a salary for his work. Meanwhile, Omar, your job is not posting. Why are you taking a salary? Moreover, these types of comments are typical of resentful people that can't contribute a single ounce of anything good. Masry with his litany of posts is seen to create the divisive of them and us, and in doing so he does a disservice to any good Muslim that wants to become mainstream and be friends with everyone. What this evil guy does is create apprehension against the good Muslims. I have some friends who are Muslims and many acquaintances, and they all would hate his rant. Omar think that he will be able to bamboozle his community into supporting him on a future political career of some sort. The problem with Omar is his IQ is too low, his level of preparation non-existent, and his posts are the reflection of ignorance and resentment. October 8, 2019, Omar makes disparaging comments about Health Secretary Alex Azar. October 8, 2019, Omar makes derogatory remarks about Supreme Court Justice Judge Kavanaugh. Omar makes disparaging and ridicules Pastor Don Boys. It an image of Pastor Boys, and at the bottom of the image the following, Christian leader uses Bible to defend Kavanaugh. No scream, no rape. Masry states, this man is disgusting and his congregation should fire him as he doesn't represent mainstream people of faith. He just represents latent neo-Nazis and slut-shamers with an ego complex. Context. First, shamers is not a word. Second, I bet if anyone was to call him aggressive radical Muslimism he would go wild, but he has not problem slandering the good name of others. Sooner or later someone will be sending him flowers with a lawsuit as a note. August 6, 2019, Omar post about the Secretary of Education Mrs. Betsy DeVos, does not escape Omar rants. All false by the way. In addition, Mrs. DeVos is one of the most accomplished women in the nation. I was told from a young age, thugs talk trash about women. I wonder who taught Masry how to eat. Hopefully he uses his hands. Judging by his commentaries, he probably only knows how to use his teeth. 33 minutes ago, some Dayton known, Masry posts, LOL, that means laughing out loud, and Omar comments, talking about Pastor Jim Bakker. The images is a cartoon of him holding the Bible and the footer reads, TV preacher claims only Trump supporters will get into heaven. Only saved people can love Trump. Omar remarks, he's imagined a new Jesus of Texarkana. The context. As always, Masry is consistently trying to degrade the culture of other people, while trying to advance his culture. I say his culture, because I could not be friends with this guy. He is a radical, and I can't stand radicals. Radicals are like a noisy dog. Eventually you put the dog out at night, and eventually you send the darn dog to the kennel club for good, and try to forget you ever had a dog. With regards to Pastor Bakker, I am unsure if he said what is portrayed or if he said it in a different context. However, let me tell you, his message is a good message, is a message that reads, open mind, pragmatic reasoning, and love. No one should make fun of Christians. September 24, 2019, Omar post another falsehood, this time about Attorney General William Barr. The audacity of Omar Masry disparaging the Attorney General of the United States has no classification, simply audacity. He goes on to imply that Mr. Barr precluded doctors from checking on the health of illegal trespassers at the border, prevented doctors from checking on infirm children, and then the post states that is effing disgusting. Who stops doctors from checking on children? I am starting to wonder, is Masry has not become a master graphic designer and talking through his selections of posts? Actually, in a court of law the argument about talking through posts could be made. Communicating through graphics and images should not spare the slanderer from penalty. What do you think? September 22, 2019, Omar win the prize with this one for not sparing anyone. He goes after the fantastic and excellent man, the Vice President of the United States, Mr. Mike Pence. The post is the image of Vice President Pence on a black background with white and yellow lettering that reads, during a speech at the American Legion, Mike Pence said that the Obama administration had been removing Bibles and even banning Christmas carols from VA hospitals. The VA confirmed that Pence's statement is false, and the following text added, I guess Mikey doesn't care about breaking the thou shalt not bear false witness commandment. Context. Omar is a radical agitator, period. No other comment. June 13, 11:37 a.m. Omar Masry posts an image of Judge Kavanaugh and Amy Chua. At the end the captions, The Tiger Mom and the Lie of Meritocracy, is an insidious and lowly article by thecut.com. In the article, likely written by a loser, the concept that Judge Kavanaugh hires only pretty law clerks is advanced, and that merit does not count. The article, idiotic, low, and opportunistic, period. Oh, just like the poster. On July 17, Omar posts an image of Ilhan Omar smiling with a small American flag at the bottom in white and yellow lettering. The captions, I am with her. Context. Omar supports Ilhan Omar. And who is Ilhan Omar? She is a newly elected member of the House of Representatives, a Muslim woman that arrived to America as a refugee from Somalia. Since she became a member of the House of Representatives, Ilhan Omar has been involved in a serious number of blunders. Because of her aggressiveness towards Jews in general, she has made many curious and to some less than tactful comments, involving the terrorist involved in the September 11th terrorist attack that resulted in the collapse of the two towers at the World Trade Center and the death of 3,900 Americans. She is also notorious for advancing the ideas of cutting aid to Israel, and many other untactful remarks. Beyond this point I will not describe more poets you can read. However, be attentive, because if you are in politics your name will be there for sure. The Prime Minister of England in his posts. Of course, Boris Johnson is blonde. How would he not be there? Omar seems to hate blonde men. Omar pokes find of the President of North Korea. Omar Masry posts about the Secretary of State of the United States Michael Pompeo. Omar Masry posts about Mr. David Nunes and makes weird insinuations. On one of the following Facebook posts, Omar calls Kanye West a buffoon. Imagine this lowly resentful government bureaucrat bashing Kanye, and accomplished artist. Right. Masry is so ascetic he will never amount to anything except the creep that got caught bashing and slandering everyone else. Omar tries to humiliate West because West is a religious Christian and Masry may be reliving the days of the Crusades and trying to take over the infidels that are Christian. Is say this is humor, because I will cowardly hide behind humor, because in this country, A radical Muslimism can go around offending me and my people all day long without any consequence. But God forbid that someone was to tell this Omar Masry, "Get the thing out of San Francisco, you are no longer allowed to be part of the government." And as he says, get him fired, he does not represent mainstream. The rest of this video I will devote to explain how the planning department in San Francisco got to have so much power. I will start by noting that the city attorney and the attorney general of the city of San Francisco seem to have displaced their goal of duty to accountant of fiduciary to the populace at large. I would not be able to say who did it, but I can certainly assume that the one that was supposed to check on the other one did nothing. I mean, the attorney general is supposed to make sure that government runs honestly and always with undivided loyalty to the citizenry. Well, here is how it happened. I will tell you about the language and then it will be up to you to revoke the power. The planning department has passed language that allows the elected officials as well as the employees of the planning department to pass laws and ordinances. Recently, these government employees at the notorious planning department passed an ordinance called COPA. You will have to look at it for yourself. I will simply tell you what I thought about it. A. The COPA seems to be illegal and a tort to property. Yes, please brush on the law of torts. B. The COPA ordinance gives rights of first refusals to a third party unrelated to the owner of the property. I repeat, unrelated. Thus is a form of expropriation, something illegal in the United States, that only has the power of condemnation for a public good. These third-party entities have to be a qualified no-profit. That is in contravention with the laws of commerce by offering unfair discounts selected parties. Moreover, it can be consumed at fraudulent conveyance, depresses prices, and is a threat to the health of homeowners by elevating stress and inducing fear. It is also an abuse of power. These reasons are sufficiently clear to me to ask for the intervention of the federal government. Now, Masry and fiends at the planning department obviously know what they are doing. Does it make it legal or ethical? I am of the opinion that none are. So who was responsible for checking that these ordinances were legal? The Attorney General silly, and the city attorney. They both bear professional liability in my opinion. They are considered learned men in the law by the mere fact of being an attorney. Some of the rules that protect the practice of law from outsiders also protect outsider from bad lawyer and bad legal counseling. Therefore, if the learned legal professionals look the other way, what will the Bar Association think about this COPA ordinance? Is it legal? Is it ethical? I say in both counts that my opinion is no. Let's dive in on how this planning department has become so despotic. They can change ordinances at any time and for no reason at all, and most ordinances that have been passed as mistakes, that have only exacerbated the housing crisis and homelessness. I will show you how in a future video. For now, these are the rules that must be changed immediately. Process for legislative change. There are 3 ways for legislation to be initiated or introduced. 1. Amendments initiated by elected officials. Elected officials may introduce legislative changes at the Board of Supervisors. Land use-related ordinances are sent to the Planning Commission for their review prior to action at the Board of Supervisors. The Legislative Affairs staff prepare reports on these proposals for review by the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission then offers a recommendation to the Board of Supervisors. Now this paragraph is the one that gives these guys authority to pro almost any ordinance. 2. Amendments initiated by the Commission. Citywide policy planners engage in long-range planning with the community that may result in comprehensive plans and amendments to the city's codes. In addition, legislative changes may be requested by members of the Commission or the Department Director and advanced by the legislative team. In these examples, a majority vote of the Commission is required to initiate the proposed ordinance so that it may be considered for approval at a later Commission hearing. If approved by the Planning Commission, the proposed ordinances are forwarded for hearing before the Board of Supervisors. This is how they do it, boys and girls. Simple, they can and they do. There is no consultation and in-guarding process to return a verdict to normal. This is why the Attorney General of San Francisco should have been looking into this powers, and the city attorney as well. Between the bother of them, I believe that they have exposed the city to liability. Therefore, we must be calling Attorney General Barr to immediately deal with the issues. As they say in Yiddish, it is not kosher, it is not kosher. The third way in which legislation can be made is through the public. However, most San Franciscans don't have a clue about this or don't care at all. Meanwhile, they allow guys like Omar to talk the talk, because no one is manning our shop, our city, our tax dollars. We have been very stupid, dear neighbors. Let's admit it. As Warren Buffett said, when the tide recedes, you get to see who is swimming naked. Dear politician, it is only a matter of time till that massive audit comes. Better be good to the people. 3. Amendments initiated by the public. A member of the public may file an application for a legislative amendment by completing this form. Current planning staff will prepare the proposal for hearing by the Planning Commission. If approved by the Commission, the proposed ordinance will be forwarded for hearing before the Board of Supervisors. The balance of this document is just hot air. I have added the bibliography to the video. Unless they have run scared and took the language down, it should still be there. The San Francisco government is begging for a massive audit of its finances, as well as a comprehensive operations management study. Lawyers are not great managers, nor are people in the social sciences. Sorry, liberal arts majors. What is needed is someone with a strong background in finance and operations management. Find him or her, and get them in charge of San Francisco.